Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
In October 2019, Arlington, Texas was chosen to be the home of a new national museum, unlike any other. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a unique home of military history. The 100,000 square foot museum will house exhibits, archives, and artifacts relating to the 3,500 U.S. troops who have been awarded the medal, the nation's highest honor for valor in combat. The museum will have 31,000 square feet of galleries dedicated to U.S. troops who have received the award. The museum CEO, former Navy SEAL and NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy, said the museum will focus on education as much as preservation. The building will have 5 areas dedicated to Medal of Honor winners from the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The main gallery will be located in a central plaza under a 25,000 square foot slab of steel, which will appear to be suspended in midair. It will be supported by 5 pillars. Black Rifle Coffee is a corporate sponsor of the museum, as are the Dallas Cowboys. The museum's board also includes over a dozen major corporations and 6 Medal of Honor recipients, including David Bellavia, Patrick Brady, and Britt Slabinski. Army Staff Sergeant Bellavia was awarded the medal for clearing an entire house by himself on November 10, 2004, as a squad leader in support of Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, Iraq. He killed 4 enemy fighters and wounded a 5th in close quarters battle. Army Major General Brady flew and coordinated the evacuation of 51 seriously wounded men during a firefight in Vietnam in January 1968. Slabinski, a Navy SEAL chief and team leader, led a rescue team of SEALs during Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan in March 2002. Slabinski and his team flew to a mountaintop ambush site to rescue Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts, who had fallen from the back of a helicopter. Slabinski led the team through almost constant combat against an entrenched Taliban force. Along with the board members, former presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama serve as honorary directors. The museum is expected to open to the public in late 2024.
All right. Welcome back.
MisFitNation. MisFitNation. The MisFitNation show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the MisFitNation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the MisFitNation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the MisFitNation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the MisFitNation show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_MisFitNation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome to our Sunday at dinner show. Tonight's a good one. Our resident hillbilly is on with me tonight again. He did not get fired after his first appearance the other night with our consigliere, which they thought would happen. They did not get fired. He just got more responsibilities now. So Jake actually found our next guest. He bought me a mug, inert mug, and I think he has one with him on his desk right there. He's drinking it. He's drinking out of it tonight. I left mine in Tennessee, so Jake has to represent inert mugs for us tonight. But Jake is also, he's EOD. Our guest is also EOD. And I'll give a quick intro on him unless, Jake, you want to do that for him.
I can hit it real quick if that's all right.
All right. There you go.
Coming up this evening is Tyler Grogg. He was a Marine Corps EOD technician, and he got out of the Marine Corps, and I'm going to let him give his story, but he got out of the Marine Corps, started his own business, and he done some other jobs in and out of there. Shoot. Don't listen to me talk. Let's bring him on. Come on.
All right. Let's do it. What's up, Tyler?
Hey guys,
what's up, Tyler?
Hey, good afternoon or good evening. I don't know. The sun's still out here in California, so my time's all messed up. I gotta say that intro is really cool. I've only done this like 2 or 3 times. That intro is the coolest, and now I kind of feel like 3 stars compared to that Medal of Honor recipient. Like, that's a tough act to follow.
Hell yeah, there we go. Well, that's what RJ did. That he's our audio engineer, plus he's my co-host most times. Tonight we get the resident hillbilly, who's also, like I said, he's an EOD guy as well. So you guys can have that hurt locker connection between each other. You have a good beard. Jake usually has a good beard, and he calls me The Rock because that's our favorite movie from IMOS. But we have a lot of banter between us. Yeah, see, good.
Nice.
See, that's a good one.
Actually. Speaking of The Rock, so I have a feeling I know what Jake sent you, but
exactly. Oh, look at that! Hell yeah! I didn't get that one. Come on,
that literally is the inspiration for this mug, and I built this just for some promotional efforts. I love this thing.
That's awesome.
Man,
Thank you.
If you want to send one of those to us for a promotional, I'll give that every time.
Absolutely. Well, I don't want you to look at it up close because, with the Photoshop magic, it looks beautiful. But when you look at it up close, you're like, wow, this thing sucks.
Yeah, but it gets a lot of cool points.
This is true. This is true. Thanks.
Like Jake Tyler, said, he gave. Go ahead, Jake.
Tyler, I gave a little short intro about you. Tell us about yourself.
Well, oh, man, that's a loaded question. How much time do we have? No, not that much. You know what's crazy? I don't think it's that exciting, and I always have such a hard time talking about myself. But as I've kind of realized as a business owner now, as the man at the helm, you kind of have to. Yeah, it's a fine line between bragging about yourself and to toe that line and like sounding like a stuck-up a-hole. So I'll try not to. But short and simple. I joined the Marine Corps straight out of high school. I was initially a computer networker. It wasn't really that exciting. I was actually on a training mission in Korea, and I got to hang out with EOD, and I thought they were like the coolest thing since sliced bread. And I realized, like, wow, the government will pay me money to blow shit up. And I was, can I say that? Am I allowed to say the S word?
Yeah, you already did.
Okay. I'll try to keep it PG from here on out. Sorry. I was just like, wow, that's so cool. You guys get paid to blow stuff up. Like, where do I sign up? So I signed up. I did 11 total years in the Marine Corps. 7 of those as an EOD tech, and my entire EOD career was on the East Coast. So I was at Camp Lejeune, deployed twice to Afghanistan with 2nd Company, 2011, 2013, got out in 2015, and I tried to be normal, whatever normal is. I tried to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I just kept coming back to explosives. So I really like it. I mean, in all honesty, as a kid, so I grew up my dad had a house in the boonies of Ohio, and me and my little brother would we'd break into his flam locker, I guess you could call it, where he kept like all the gas and the oil and everything for the tractors and stuff. And we'd like steal gasoline. We go light stuff on fire. We'd throw firecrackers in the pond. We built bottle rocket launchers and shoot bottle rockets at each other. Just all kinds of dumb stuff. So that like inner pyro has always been inside of me. And I've never been able to let it go. So I did some contracting work for a while. And then now I finally planted my roots here in Southern California. And I work for TSA as an explosive specialist. So that's like my
Absolutely.
normal, like that's like me in a nutshell. Like that's the last like 20 years, like, condensed.
In a quick snapshot. That's outstanding.
Yeah.
And we talked a bit in the green room about the contracting life and being able to go hang out there in 29 Palms and stuff like that. And it's a lot different when you're outside the uniform. Do you notice that as well? Being outside the uniform, it's a little better to hang out and go out, do the work, but you're able to go home at night.
Oh, it's so much better being in uniform. So I was contracting in Virginia, at Quantico in Virginia. And we had to get up early, try to get out and try to hit the range before the sun's up, so you can really there's rules and red tape and stuff, but you try to maximize your workday. And we're rolling through the gate and on our contracting salaries, which was really good, and we cut through officer candidate school. So there's a bunch of like wannabe lieutenants and wannabe chief warrant officers out there. And they're like getting back from rucks and they're looking sweaty and miserable. And I'm just like, oh, that's not me anymore. It sucks to be you, like I get to be that fat, lazy, bearded civilian. So like, I love where I'm at in life. Like this is a phase that every veteran needs to experience. You need to go back and visit a military base as that fat, bearded civilian and be like, yes, I don't have to do that anymore.
Get to do it every day.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. You love it. Excuse me.
So my internet connection is a little spotty. What years were you in the Marine?
Yeah. Okay. So I think you asked me what years was I in. So I joined in 2004 and I got out in 2015.
Hello.
Yeah, so you joined during the height. You joined during the height of the war, basically at 2004. Height of Iraq, and then you stayed in through basically 11 years of war while you were in. So that's a lot of dedication to the Corps, and then you still work. Basically, you did work as a contractor for the Corps, and now for TSA. So you're still doing great things for God and country.
Yeah. Actually, so it was, truth be told, it was 9/11 that really shaped. I'd always kind of planned on joining the Navy, but my goal was different in the Navy. I was gonna go in. I was only gonna do 4 years. Hopefully get into something underwater. I was super into scuba diving in my younger years. So I was thinking, maybe Navy diver, do that for 4 years, get out, go to college, and then truth be told, I actually want to be a history teacher. And it was freshman year in high school when the towers fell, and that was just like, okay, well, hard turn left. The Marine Corps recruiter, he was at all the recruiters I talked to, he was the smoothest talking one.
He was most influential, I guess.
100%.
He gave you the knife hand right away, and he gave you a box of crayons and said, "This is what it's going to be like. You're going to hang out, you have a good time, and you guys do have the coolest uniform. I got to give you that, and we just keep changing ours. You guys have stayed with the same one. It's been sharp the whole time."
Yeah, and tell you what, really it was those crayons. They were delicious. He's like, "Here, try this one." And it's almost like, and then after like 3 hours in the office, I was like, "Hey man, you got any more of them crayons?" I need some more crayons.
Yeah, my brother.
What you got on my red?
Purple. Everybody.
My brother-in-law
purple's
was in
the
the
best,
Corps,
hands down.
And he's very fond of the red ones. So you were mostly on the East Coast in the Marine Corps. And then from there, and you deployed from there. I actually worked with a bunch of Marines I was an instructor at the schoolhouse for a while, and then there was a couple of them that got out that I've kept in touch with. So we probably know some of the same folks.
Probably. And honestly, that's one of my favorite things. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's one of my favorite things about the EOD community is if you don't like, I think I recognize more names than people that I've met. You know, it's like, hey, do you know so-and-so? And it's like, I know that name, but I think I know it because somebody else knows that individual. Like it's, you know, the Marine Corps is great because it's that tight knit fraternity, but EOD like takes it to another level. You know, it's an even tighter knit community or fraternity. And I think it's really unique because it's universal across all four branches. You know, obviously so everybody in my office is all prior military, mostly Marines. We got one Air Force, a couple Navy, no Army guys. I think we might have one inbound, but you know, we all give each other crap for being different branches and, oh, you know, my branch is better. But at the end of the day, it's awesome because, you know, same schoolhouse, similar training, similar deployment stories, you know? So that's one of my favorite things about being EOD.
Yeah. And the Navy guys, they all got the best hair, right?
Yeah, man, for those Navy guys. So I might lose. Maybe this is bad for business, but you know what? Those Navy guys, they're all like, this is how the conversation goes with every Navy EOD tech that walks into our office. Like, oh, hey, I'm Tyler. I was Marine Corps. Hey, I'm Tim. I was with SEAL Team 6. And you're like, whoa, I didn't ask. Yeah, and then after that, it was EOD with SEAL Team 2, and then I went over to SEAL Team 4. And then I did some more stuff with the SEALs, and you're like, oh my God, like I don't care. Like they get so excited that they're attached to SEALs, and I don't get it.
And they have to push their hair back as they're talking to you, probably. And my hair was perfect.
And then it's like they're running the combs through their hair. It's like, yeah, I was with SEAL Team 6, and you're like, nobody cares.
So is Marchenko. It's great.
Yeah, freaking Navy guys, man. Yeah. No, they're good people though. We got a couple Navy guys in our office, and they're good guys. You can't say the word SEAL or anything that sounds like SEAL. They're like, hey man, can you throw away this orange peel? SEALs? No, orange peel.
Squirrel, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Dang it.
What are you gonna do?
I got a real good friend of mine that's he was a Navy guy, and he's the BAO at Nashville. And me and him were instructors together at the schoolhouse. And he never talks about that because I don't think he was ever attached to a SEAL team. But yeah, he makes fun of those guys a lot.
Yeah. Navy. I mean, I'm sure there's Navy guys that are out there that are like, hey, Marine Corps, you guys do this. Like, I don't know what our thing is, but I'm sure there's a thing that we do too.
Yeah.
Besides be better than everybody.
It's the crayons. Everyone knows the crayons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a given.
Yeah.
Something I always, another thing about the Marine Corps EOD program that I always liked was, well, first of all, going through school, if you had maybe if you had 3 Marines in a class, that was a lot of them, and they usually took over. I mean, that it didn't matter how many people was in the class. If you had 3 Marines in the class, they would take over the class. It was their class, and generally they were NCOs, and it was just. I like the fact that to be a Marine EOD officer, you have to be an enlisted man enlisted EOD first. That's one thing I love about the Corps.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool thing, and it's also a really bad thing. I think we also kind of shoot ourselves in the foot there. Now, so I was enlisted. I was never but one of our new hires, he's a retired major, great guy. He's definitely the officer type, and it's a totally different game. You got to be a politician sometimes. And I think that's where we shoot ourselves in the foot by the time that you go through EOD school, you hit the chief warrant officer criteria, and then you pin on LDO captain. It's like, you could have been in the Marine Corps for 15, 16 years, and your peers are like majors and lieutenant colonels. and you're a brand new LDO captain that doesn't know how to play the political game, and you're trying to rub elbows and get what you want with these majors and lieutenant colonels. And I think some guys are like, well, like I started out as a private and then I went CWO3 and like, I don't know, like I said, it's a great thing, but I think it also kind of hurts us a little bit too as a community. But what do I know?
We've all got our we're all screwed up. So we've all got our problems.
Oh, speaking of the devil, I'm looking at my live stream. There's that retired major I was just talking about, saying nothing but bad things. So don't go back and watch this clip there, Ron.
Welcome.
Nothing but great things.
So, question I got for you, and I want you to explain it.
Sure.
How did you come up with this?
Man, so that's a great question. So I've done, I've only done like a handful of podcasts. I actually just hit my 1 year anniversary with my business a couple weeks ago. Like 1 year ago, I hit click on LegalZoom and said, please fill out my paperwork so I don't get arrested. Nice. But prior to that, So prior to that, I was actually involved with another. So this is my fifth company that I've been involved with. This is my first time as CEO. I was CFO / ops director of 2 companies, and then the other 2, or whatever the math works out to be, I was basically just a program director / sitting board member. So, important, but really not really that important. So with that being said, I've learned like 4 different ways how to not run a company. And the company that I was with prior, so I got a call from a buddy of mine, former buddy, just an individual, fellow Marine, and he has his own training company. And I'm not going to use names. I'm not here to smear companies because it is what it is, and we parted our ways, and we're grown men, and we're moving on. But so he calls me up, and he's got, hey man, he's like, so I started 3D printing training aids, and I'm going to try to incorporate these into my company, and I'm going to try to get the Marine Corps to buy off on these packages. He's like, and then I kind of had this epiphany that, what if we turn these into 3D printed mugs that look like ordnance? And again, he was a former infantry guy and a sniper guy, so he worked with EOD, but he wasn't a I don't like using the word expert, so I'll use the word specialist. He wasn't a specialist in it, so that's where I came in. And I was like, you're really onto something here. Let's talk about it. So I went down to his house, and we had a few beers out of these 3D printed mugs, and we were talking about it. And again, I don't want to say anything bad, but essentially the company just didn't pan out. There was creative differences, and then there was some things that just weren't lining up. So I had to step away from the company. But I was with that company for probably about a year. And within that year, I had better learned how to be a business owner. We were 50-50 partners. I learned a lot about social media. I really threw a lot of my time and energy into that company. And I even offered to buy the company from him. I said, hey man, I want to keep this going. I'll take over the company. We couldn't agree upon a dollar amount. So I stepped away, and then I was kind of sulking, and I was kind of depressed and kicking my feet, and being that little like third grader that says, well, then I'll just take my ball and go home. And I really wanted to do it, but we had already sunk in a bunch of money. My initial contribution to that company was about a $15,000 buy-in. So $15,000 a year later, I hadn't seen a penny in return, which is normal. I'm sure people out there are like, well, of course, Tyler, that's normal. Sure. I understand that, but it wasn't just a monetary return. There was other returns that I wasn't seeing. So I did a lot of legwork, and I completely all the designs that I did with his company, I completely scrapped those designs. I started from scratch, and I approached my wife and I said, hey hon, I still want to do this. Look at all the momentum we were gaining. I still think that this can be successful. And I kind of put the decision in her hands, and I said, because, I need you in this with me, and she's not an employee. She's not a partner. She's not anything on paper. She's just the woman that I got to stare at before I go to sleep. And if she's glaring at me, I definitely don't want that. So, yeah, we had a lot of long talks about it, and a lot of numbers, and a lot. It was. But at the end of it, I was like, look, I'm like, I basically gave her the sales pitch, like here's my business plan, here's my pie charts and my graphs, and here's some fancy stuff, whatever. And I'm like, but honestly, at the end of the day, hon, if you don't want to risk it, I'm not going to resent you. I'm not going to hold it against you. We're just going to move on with our lives. And then, geez, I don't know how much time we got, but to add another layer of it, I was actually, while all this is going on, was in a 3-year legal battle with a CEO of a former company. We were suing him for civil theft, negligence, all kinds of stuff. So we ended up coming out of pocket almost $40,000 for that lawsuit. Throw another 15 on for this buy-in investment. I know. So like literally everything, she's like, oh my God. Like, and then it was going to be at least another, I think my total contribution to my company, Inert Mugs, was probably upwards of 20. So it's just like, do the math. And she's just like, what the heck, man? Like, this is a lot of money and a huge gamble. But ultimately, she went with it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on the show right now. And so with that being said, I always take an opportunity to brag about my wonderful wife. And there's way more to our story, too. Like, we've got such a rich history, and I love her to death. But so kind of my if you look at the lot number on all my mugs, IM stands for Inert Mugs. MMS is actually my wife's initials. And then 2023, God, I can't do this backwards. 2023 was the year that a company was started. So I incorporate, that's the best way that I can kind of like, pay tribute to the fact that this company exists because, she put her faith and confidence in me.
That's outstanding. And
yeah,
got you.
I don't even know if I answered your question. I
no,
feel like that was a long.
Did
I answer the question?
Yeah. And hey, I tell you what, I'm going to put in a plug for you.
I blanked out.
I'm going to put a plug for you right here for anybody that is watching from anywhere I cross-posted, inertmugs.com. Or if you go on to, if you're in the community, go to Buy EOD, and they've got those mugs there as well. And let me tell you what, they keep hot stuff hot, and they keep a bourbon and Coke cold.
They do. And here's the crazy thing. So and I always tell people this. So I had a lady reach out to me through my website, and she said, "Are your products made in America?" And from day one of this business, I'm 100% transparent. Ask me anything you want, and I'll give you straight. Other than names and past businesses, I keep that tight because look, what goes around comes around. I'm not going to smear those guys because I'm not going to give them a reason to come after me. So. But I had this lady reach out, and she's like, "Are your products made in America?" And I was like, "Well, I designed them. I'm an American. I donate back to veteran communities." I'm like, "But if you're asking me where these are actually manufactured," I told her, I was like, "These are manufactured overseas in China." And then I further told her, I said, "Yeti does it. Stanley does it." I said, "Sadly, there's no company to my knowledge that is producing stainless steel tumbler blanks in America." I'm like, "If you happen to know somebody, let me know. I'll look into it, and I'll consider switching companies." But again, ultimately, I'm buying the same thing that Yeti's buying, and Stanley and Arctic and all these other companies. It's the same quality. We're all getting it from the same group of manufacturers overseas. And basically, her just answer was, "Oh, okay, well," and okay. So I did tell her, I was like, I do have some wooden ammo crates that I'm making. A buddy of mine actually makes some. He's an American, he's a veteran, and so she was like, "Well, let me know when those are available." I was like, "Okay, well, have a great day." So I like to throw that out there because the reason you said it keeps the hots and colds is because it's the same thing that you're buying when you buy a Stanley, a Yeti, an Arctic, except I'm trying to keep the costs a little bit more reasonable.
And my wife she drinks all of her stuff out of a straw. She likes the way that the straw holder is in the top of them. In the top.
Yes.
She really likes that. But so you're the explosives guy for TSA, right?
Yep.
How much work do you actually get there at the airport?
Man, so I work at LAX. We're the fifth busiest in the country and like the 7th busiest in the world. So we average about, I think like our high point, like 120,000 people a day. And then the off season's like 70,000 people a day. So when you figure that each person has probably 2 carry-ons, and it's busy, we're busy. So I'm 3:30 a.m. 03:30 to 1400 for you military folks, and yeah, my day manages to stay pretty busy. But honestly, I love my job. I have a great job. I work with a bunch of former EOD techs. I get to, when I'm not busy invading your personal space at the checkpoint, rooting through your bags. I get to train. I get to pass on my explosive knowledge. There's not a whole lot for old EOD techs to do. Like, it just doesn't translate well to the civilian market. So basically it's like, once you're not an active tech anymore, you got to find a way to teach and pass on your knowledge. So I'm pretty lucky.
Good deal. Jake is also, he's pretty lucky with the position he has now too. So he still gets to play with bombs or simulated bombs and still teach the next generation.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I don't know if Rich told you what we do, but I started out as a counter IED instructor, and then that kind of went away, and so now we're counter UAS instructors, and we get to fly around and drop little powder-filled Easter eggs on people. So that's what we do now. But yeah, it's a fun job.
Cool.
Get to be with soldiers every day.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that counter UAS stuff is really big, and especially, I don't think a day goes by where during our morning briefing I don't see, like pilot reported drone was flying too close as they were landing. I mean, people throw their drones up all the time, and it's like, look, get away from those planes. What are you doing? Like, don't try to be cute and then post that footage online, because they will find you and they will fine you it's a lot of money if they don't cuff you.
It's a big check. Yes.
If you're one of these nerds, that go out there and put together a $15,000 drone and decide to take it up and take a picture of a 747 landing with it, they take your drone too.
Yep, don't do it. It's not a smart idea.
No,
and
it is not.
Speaking of 15,000, so fun fact about that number, I don't think it's well known. Like, look, I get it. When people come through security checkpoints, like, I travel too. It's stressful. I get it. You want to get through security. You want it to be smooth. You want to sit down and chill. And but you can get fined up to $14,000 just for verbally harassing TSA. Now, LAX, like, I don't know why, but like, we don't have those signs out anymore. But I mean, I've been berated. Actually, that's not true. I mean, I have been, but not nearly as bad as the normal officer. So most of the time when I show up, people see explosive specialist on my shirt and they're like, oh, I might be in trouble. So usually they're pretty nice to me, but I've been at checkpoint when people are just like, they're like, oh, F you. And it's like, just for saying that, you could potentially be fined up to, should we choose to pursue it, you could be fined up to $14,000. So look, people, for anybody that's listening, stop bringing your water. That rule's been in place for like 30 years. You can't bring it. All right. Stop bringing it. Stop making excuses. We don't care if you're late for your flight. That's your problem, not ours. Plan better. Get to the airport an hour prior. An hour before your board time is what I do, and I do it well. Sounds like TSA is a little sensitive. Oh, it's my buddy Jeff. No, Jeff, we're not sensitive. You're sensitive. Sorry, I had to call out one of my followers on Instagram. He's a buddy of mine, so I can say what I want. He's a good friend of mine.
So if we roll into the checkpoint and throw your name out, we go right to the front of the line, right?
You could try. I don't think it's going to go well for you. Honestly, I think if you know what, I would love to know how that would play. Actually, what I really am waiting for is here's how I know Greg's not scared. So, okay. All right, Greg. So here's how I know that I've made it as a business owner. And this is the day that I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for somebody to come through with one of my mugs, put water in it, put it in your bag, and then they open your bag and they see, like VX gas or I Actually, here, I'll give, that one doesn't have an example. I don't have any good ones on standby, but like I just launched three new mugs, blue 97, a yellow dynamite, and a red dynamite. So I'm waiting for someone to open the bag and they see like this yellow cylinder that says dynamite and they're like, oh crap. And then I show up and it's like, that's one of my products. Like that's my, then it's like, yes, I have made it as a business owner.
I tell you what, if I ever fly through LAX, then that's happening. It'll be in my carry-on. It'll be in my carry-on.
You have to intentionally fill it with like water. So you have to go into it knowing like, okay, my bag will get called.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That'll be great. Do it Monday through Thursday between 3:30 and 1400 because those are my duty days. Oh, Greg's gonna start traveling with it too. Yeah, and then but here's the crazy.
And then you got to take a selfie with it.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. But you want to add a level of like WTF to all this? Like, don't say anything. Just dead stare. Like, sir, what's in your bag? Like, don't say anything. It's the easiest way to freak people out.
Lawyer.
Yeah, lawyer. Yeah.
So, hey, I don't want to show my age here.
I'm a Scientologist.
Oh, geez, Greg. Greg said I'll throw out some posh too. Yeah, instant cuffs. Sorry, Jake. What was your question?
And maybe throw out the window.
I was just going to ask you. What was your class number?
Oh man, I graduated in September of 2009. I think it was like 150 Sierra.
Okay.
I'm horrible about that. I feel like that's one of those things that I should know, but I'm a terrible tech. Like every time I gotta go. It is especially like you mentioned the Buy EOD Facebook group. To get into all these EOD Facebook groups, typically that's one question they ask you is like, what was your class number?
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, like open the drawer, start flipping through the files, looking for my certificate. I'm like, I don't remember, guys. So, but truth be told, actually, I rolled twice. So, yeah, see, Greg can't remember his either. I rolled in Rockets and Projos because I'm an idiot, and then DNPs, and I can't remember why DNPs got me, but Rockets and Projos, I just freaked myself out. So and I feel like we're like excluding like a large majority of listeners, and only the techs are going to get this. But during that test, I had a hand me test, and I was writing on my paperwork. I don't remember what projectile it was, but it was like some standard HE with a PD fuse. And I get into the pubs and I find it immediately. I triple check my paperwork, and it was like, no RSP, proceed to disposal. And I was like, no. What do I have to do? And so I was like, I'm running back out to the training, and I'm like, okay, all right, proceed to disposal. So okay, I just need grab this HE and then make sure and like I'm thinking of everything I need to do, and I stop and I'm staring at this round, and I was like tell me your secrets. Like, what am I like? I'm like talking to it, we're all a little bit weird, and I reached down and I picked it up, and as soon as I cradled that thing, I was like it came to me. I was like, remote move. So I forgot to attach a rope to it, and I'm like, no. And then like I just had flashes of like, oh my God, I failed. They're gonna kick me out of the Marine Corps. I'm gonna be homeless. I'm gonna have to do things that I can't say on live radio to sustain myself. Like it's a heartbreaking feeling failing a test, man.
I had a student once. I taught in ground. I instructed in ground, and I had a student once doing a 50 cal shot. And it was too far away. When they first set it up, they measured it. And so instead of moving the 50 cal toward the ordnance, they moved the ordnance toward the 50 cal.
Oh man. Yeah. The things that but you know what's crazy is like, so in school you learn the safe way to do everything, but then in the field we just throw all that caution to the wind anyway.
For the most part.
Yeah, doing UXO, like looking back at my UXO career, it's like, man, like I think I was way more reckless doing UXO than I ever was overseas. And don't get me wrong, 2011 Sangin, Afghanistan, that was like the Wild West. I was doing like cowboy stuff, and I was way more reckless doing UXO.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why. And it's like I'm stateside. I have all the time in the world. Like, but I'd be like, man, you know, I'll just pick that up. Like, yeah, why not? And then you get in the pubs and you're like, definitely should not have picked that up.
Yes.
Probably should have been killed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
Well, hey, so we already got your website up there.
Awesome, thank you.
And I we got that up there, Rich. Yes, we do.
There it is.
www.nerfmugs.com.
Yeah, it looks great.
I will tell people they're great. Not only do they keep stuff hot, keep stuff cold, they look awesome. Especially, I just think they're cool because nobody else has one like it, and that's why I like them. So before we go, what's 3 things that you would tell somebody on the street that's thinking, hey, I'm thinking of starting my own business, starting something to sell?
Man.
What's 3 bits of advice that you would give somebody before they started their business?
3 pieces of advice. Oh man. So, you know, I feel like as an unconventional guy, I'm going to try to give some unconventional answers. And my first piece of advice is definitely be careful who you go in business with. I've literally had friendships. Like I said, the gentleman that we took to court was, he was hands down one of my best friends. He was literally a brother. And never in a million years would I've ever thought I'd be in a situation where we were, you know, I was suing him and just the things that it was this horrible situation. So if you're going to go into business and you choose a business partner, that person's not your friend. They're not your brother. It's literally your partner. And you have to be willing to, if things go south, you have to be willing to cut ties and do what's best in the interests of the company. Because at the end of the day, the company you have to look at the company as its own entity. You know, and if that person is hurting that entity, then they got to go. Something I tell people, actually, Jeff, who's watching this right now, wanted to go into business with me. I said, man, I love you too much to go into business with you. I can't do it. So that's definitely one. The second piece of advice I would say is look in the mirror and ask yourself, how do you define success and how do you define failure? You know, I told you this is my 5th company, the first at the helm. I don't consider those 4 failures because I learned something.
Okay.
If you only fail if you don't learn something from it. If you can't walk away from something at the end of the day and say, oh, like, yeah, I don't know what I did wrong, then that's a failure. And then again, how do you define success? I run a successful company. This is my first year in business. My tax guy will he'll be the first one to tell you that you are in the hole. But money is not how I define success. Every single day that I wake up and I do something positive for my business is a successful day. Every day that I make 1 sale, I'm a successful business owner. I send out 1 email, I'm a successful business owner. Mm-hmm. And again, that's just, I'm blessed that I've got a great job. I have a loving and supporting wife who has a phenomenal job, and we get to pursue this business as a passion. It's because we love to do it. We don't rely on it for financial means, and it allows us to do great things, and it's allowed us to give back. I'm going to stand on a soapbox for a second. We've in our first year, we've given back thousands of dollars. I don't have the exact amount in front of me, but the amount of money that we've donated and given back is phenomenal. I'm donating 50% of sales for my thermite mugs. Find one other company who donates 50% of sales, and I can do it. Why can I do it? Because I don't need this company to put food on my table, you know? Yeah. And then that's another reason why I consider myself a success, because I'm lucky and fortunate enough to be in a position where, and don't get me wrong, this is a noble cause. Like, I wouldn't just throw out 50% to anybody. You know, it's a noble cause. I truly believe in it. Please go to my website. You don't have to buy one of the thermites, but do your research. Look at this guy. Look at what he's doing. Look at his story. It'll bring you to tears. It totally changed me as a father. Phenomenal stuff. And I know we're running short on time, but otherwise I'd go into that. So I feel like that was like 12 answers in one. Short, you can talk. So careful who you go into business with. How do you define success or failures? But I think really more importantly, the most important piece of advice I can give someone is you can do it. Don't quit. Just keep going. Look, there's plenty of days where I get home from work. I'm up at 2:00 in the morning to go to work at an airport for 10 hours a day, get yelled at by people who are angry at me, looking through their stuff, which I don't want to look through your stuff. I don't want to look at all kinds of weird stuff you're bringing to the airport. And then I come home and it's like, I got to push and I got to grind to really get something done with business. And there's days where I do still doubt myself. And it's like, a couple weeks go by on email, people aren't emailing me back. There's minimal traction on the website. Social media posts aren't doing as well. And it's just like, oh my God, like, what am I doing wrong as a business owner? But it all comes in cycles, and then I grind and I dig deep. And then the next week, there was one of my most successful posts on social media with my old 26 followers was something I didn't even mean to be successful. It was like some stupid post. And I'm laughing my ass off the whole time that I'm making this post. I thought it was hysterical and it got some of the most views and the most traction. So again, really just believe in yourself. And speaking of,
all right.
Definitely.
Sorry. Yeah, so the whole
Inert Mugs crew. Me and Jake talked in the office.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Mugs
Sorry.
crew said?
No, I said the Inert Mugs crew. So they actually went. They did a
me and
Target
Jake talked
run.
in the office a while. Yeah.
I don't know who's going. I feel like the internet connection is messing us up. There's this awkward silence.
It is.
All right.
Tyler, go.
Yeah.
No, I was just apologizing. So my CFO and my two other employees are wondering how everything's going because they expected me. They went on to Target to sustain the household. So I'm just apologizing for texting while I was doing this.
Oh, that's.
But I didn't want them to come barging through the door singing, right. Taylor Swift and all the other stuff that they like to do. So I've got two young daughters that are actually very active in the company too, 10 and 7 years old. So yeah, I guarantee if we're still doing this, you'll know they're home because that door will come flying open and they'll be singing at the top of their lungs.
Some Tay-Tay. All right, we got it. Some Tay-Tay from the block. So me and Jake talked about your mugs a lot in our office, and we both came to the conclusion if you came out with the whole chemical line, that those would be on display all the time.
I am always open to ideas, and actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I want to highlight the dynamite and the blues. So I can now do custom one-off orders. So I had an Army tech reach out to me and ask about a sarin gas mug, and when I heard his story, I was like, okay, I can't do this for free, but yes, I will make that for you. So yeah, if you got ideas, awesome. Let's do it. Bring it on. I want to hear the ideas. I want to hear the stories. All this came about because longtime supporter from day one, and now a good friend of mine from he was the Region 1 director of the International Association of Bomb Techs and Investigators. He hit me up and said, "Can you do this?" And I said, "No. Talk to this person." They couldn't help him. I said, "Okay, talk to this person." They couldn't help him. I said, "Okay, fine, I'll do it." And I reinvested some money into myself and into the company. And what you see now is a custom line. Like literally, I have the ability to do whatever you can think of. I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, because Rich and I were talking.
That's a challenge for Jake right there. His imagination's nuts.
Let's do it. Yeah, you got an idea for a camera? Let me know. Well, let's do it. Why not?
Well, I know we need to have a BZ round because out of all the chemicals, I think that would be the funnest one.
So the Blue 97 actually came from a customer that asked me. I've had 4 or 5 customers ask for the Blue 97, and I got tired of saying no. And those things are flying off the shelf. I mean, it's mostly EOD techs, but the Blue 97s I just can't keep in stock.
I'm gonna have to get on there and look and get some Blue 97 rounds because I worked at White Sands Missile Range for a few years, and I am very intimate with the Blue 97.
Yeah, very cool. Billy Martin he posted and he did a huge shout out, and then he was telling some stories about his Blue 90. If you know him, he was doing some stories about the Blue 97, and I'm just like, and again, I love hearing the stories from you old guys. I mean, I'm old too, but you're like next generation old, so that wasn't a shot at you, because I'm old too, man. I get it, but you know,
hey, I went to Indian Head. So
yeah, you're old, dude. Actually, so I just did a custom Blue 97 for a dude that went to Indian Head. I throw Easter eggs into all my designs. I found and I haven't told him, and I'm wondering if he noticed. So if you look at my Blue 97, you'll see some warnings and stuff that's not on the actual munition. But I found like an Indian. It's a skull with a chief feather headdress on it. And then I shrunk it down and I made it super, super light because he went to Indian Head. And I was like, I wonder if he's going to notice that Indian head that's on his mug. So I like throwing in little stuff like that. But yeah, if you went to Indian Head, you're old. Indian head that's on his mug. So I like throwing in little stuff like that.
Jake is old, but I mean, and you shot him in the head with that one. That was a good one.
Stuff like that.
Jake is old. But Tyler, thanks again for jumping on with us tonight. This has been great.
This was awesome. I had a great time.
It's been great. Yeah, it's been great chatting with you and learning about your business a little more than just what Jake sent me with the VX round mug, which is on my desk at the actual studio in Studio A. It's there at all times, and that's what I drink out of when I'm at home in my studio. Hopefully next month I'm home a lot more than this month and the last month and the month before. So I'll be off the road hopefully, and Jake will be on the road, and it'll be a flip-flop. And it's been great having you here with us tonight.
No, this was awesome. I had a lot of fun doing it, and you know, that's just honestly the tip of the iceberg.
It's been great having you here.
I've learned. Oh man. Are you hearing the feedback, or is it just me?
I'm hearing it too. I'm not sure whose it is.
Oh, okay. Jake.
That was me.
There it is, Jake. It's Jake.
Yep. So, hey, no, I want to thank you guys for taking the time. You know, I know it's Sunday. I'm sure you have way better things to do than talk to me. But thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And this is honestly just the tip of the iceberg. Definitely love to come back anytime that you're bored and you're like, let's talk to that weirdo again. But I do want to give a shout out to Urban Valor real quick. For those of you that don't watch Urban Valor, I'm fortunate enough that I met the CEO at an event. He actually lives not too far, so I do have an Urban Valor episode coming out, and there's a lot more to my story that'll definitely be coming out here on YouTube.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks. All your links are in the notes for the show. They're on YouTube. Okay. They'll be there forever. The show will come out in early June, probably June 6th, I believe it is. This will be on audio and everything else, but it'll be on YouTube forever. So if you watch the show tonight, all those websites going across the bottom. Tyler, this has been great. Jake, thanks for not getting fired the other day on the show and being able to come on tonight.
Hey, Tyler, it's great
Thanks
meeting
again,
you.
guys.
And we'll get on there and get some more mugs.
Awesome. Heck yeah. Yeah, send me your custom ideas. I'm excited. I need them. To keep me going.
All right. Will do.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Peace.
All right. Good night.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.